Let's be perfectly honest. At some point, almost every woman has looked back at a man she once ignored, dismissed, or underestimated and felt that sudden pang in her chest. That sharp, unexpected ache when she realizes he's no longer waiting. He's no longer chasing. He's not the same man she could toy with emotionally. And in that moment, regret quietly creeps in, not because she lost just any man, but because she lost the one who truly understood her. Most men never see how this shift unfolds. You might assume she left because she wanted something better, that she outgrew you, or simply found someone new. But the truth women rarely voice is this: she didn't stop caring because she stopped feeling. She stopped caring because she assumed you always would. Women thrive on consistency. When a man is always there, forgiving fast, initiating conversations, and never letting her feel the weight of her mistakes, she begins to believe your presence is permanent. And permanence breeds complacency. Urgency disappears. The female mind starts to rewrite the narrative. He'll always be here. He'll never leave. He loves me too much to walk away. And slowly, unknowingly, she begins to take you for granted, not out of malice, but out of human psychology. Comfort creates blindness. Blindness makes her forget what it took to earn your love. Regret starts the instant you finally step away, not in anger, but in quiet acceptance. Suddenly, something shifts within her. It's not just your text she misses. It's the energy you carried, the masculine calm she felt in your presence, the subtle security of being seen by a man who never needed to impress her. Long after you've stopped posting, stopped messaging, stopped reacting, she notices. She opens her phone, sees your name absent, checks your story, and realizes you've moved on without a hint of longing. That's when regret pierces her pride. Because in that silence, the truth emerges: you never needed her validation. You wanted her respect. And now, as your attention is no longer freely given, your absence speaks louder than your presence ever could. Men, pay attention. Women do not regret losing those who begged for them. They regret losing men who loved deeply but refused to be disrespected. That regret doesn't manifest in words. It shows up in late night social media glances, in cautious, "Hey, how have you been?" messages months later, in nervous smiles when paths cross and she notices you've grown into someone unrecognizable, yet undeniably stronger. She thought she had control, but now curiosity takes over. Who is he without me? Who makes him laugh the way I once did? Who provides the calm I disrupted? She starts remembering the small, seemingly insignificant moments: the tone of your voice when you said her name, the way you looked without judgment, the quiet reassurance no one else could replicate. It burns because regret doesn't come from losing you, it comes from realizing you were the only one who truly understood her. By the time that dawns, she stands where she once took you for granted, but this time, you're not there. That is your turning point. When you protect your energy instead of seeking validation, the same women who once dismissed you begin to see you, not because you changed for them, but because you evolved without them. They notice your quiet loyalty, steady heart, and patient, grounded presence. And slowly, they grasp a difficult truth: you were never the one who wasn't enough. They were simply too blind to recognize your worth when it stood right in front of them. Regret is subtle. It doesn't announce itself. It grows silently, a shadow behind her smile. At first, she convinces herself she's fine, that leaving you is the right choice, that she's focusing on herself, healing, or finding adventure. But deep down, something feels off. She doesn't miss you immediately. She misses the version of herself that existed when you were around, the woman who felt safe to be soft, to lower her guard, and still feel desired. That realization creeps up slowly. When she first walked away, she may have felt empowered, confident, convinced she had made a bold choice. She told friends you were too available, too emotional, too invested. She needed space, excitement, something different. But excitement fades, and space can feel like emptiness when filled by the wrong person. Comparison creeps in. Every new man is measured against the memory of you, how you looked, how you listened without judgment, how you wanted her peace, not just her body. Real masculine energy, calm, confident, grounded, doesn't vanish from memory. It echoes. She sees your reflection when another man raises his voice, and she remembers your patience. When someone lies, she recalls your honesty, even when it hurt. When she feels lonely in a crowd, she remembers the silent connection you offered. Her regret deepens not simply because she misses you, but because she underestimated you. She assumed your heart was always hers to command, that your attention was inexhaustible. But when you pull back, focus on your life, your goals, your peace, she feels a void she can't fill. That's the true power of absence. Jealousy. Not jealousy of another woman, but a deeper, quieter envy of your independence. You became the man she wished she had the patience to hold on to. That's the paradox of female psychology most men never truly see. Women crave security, yet they are drawn to mystery. They long for emotional safety, but they respect emotional control. And when you mastered both simply by walking away without bitterness, you became unforgettable. Her regret slowly turns into obsession, not the dramatic, movie style obsession, but the subtle kind that lingers in the background. She scrolls through your posts without liking them. She watches your stories just to see if you're happy. She might even text, "I miss us," not to rebuild anything, but to remind herself she still matters in some way. This is where your strength as a man is truly tested. Because when a woman regrets losing you, she'll try subtle ways to pull you back in. Not out of love, but out of fear, the fear that you've moved beyond her reach. She'll drop your name in conversations, post nostalgic songs, or react to your stories randomly. These signals are unspoken admissions. "I'm thinking of you." But most men misread this as an invitation to return. Don't. The man she regrets losing is never the one who comes running back. He's the one who walks forward, fully aware her recognition came too late. That's when the balance shifts entirely. She becomes the one haunted by memories, replaying moments and wondering why she let you slip away. She thought you'd always wait, but you didn't. And that kind of regret doesn't fade because it's tied to identity. She has to live with the truth. She had something rare, and she was careless with it. Your moving on isn't revenge, it's evolution. Your silence, your peace, your indifference teaches a lesson life couldn't. A good man cannot be taken for granted indefinitely. Men understand this. When you choose self respect over validation, when you replace reaction with restraint, when you build instead of beg, you become unforgettable. Women may fall for charm, but they regret losing character. Your steady presence, calm strength, and self control become the ghost that follows her through every relationship afterward. There comes a precise moment, often quiet and devastating, when she realizes she no longer recognizes who you are, not because you changed for her, but because you finally became the man she believed you never could. She may have moved on, changed cities, started a new chapter, yet one unexpected reminder, your photo online, a mutual friend mentioning your name, a random scroll through your profile, stops her heart. You're not sad anymore. You're not reaching out. You're no longer the man who overthought, doubted himself, or justified his worth to hold her close. You're stronger, confident, unbothered, silent when necessary. And that is when regret becomes undeniable. She's not simply remembering who you were, she's witnessing who you've become without her. Pride meets punishment. She expected your world to crumble. She expected you to chase, to beg, to prove yourself endlessly. But when you don't, when you focus on growth instead of destruction, something inside her rewires. She realizes you weren't weak, you were emotionally invested. You weren't desperate, you were devoted. You weren't clingy, you cared. And she destroyed something sacred because she misread vulnerability as weakness. Now she watches from afar. Every sign of your progress is a silent message. You no longer control me. That stings more than anything, the loss of control. Women don't regret the breakup. They regret losing influence over someone who once poured himself into them without hesitation. You used to react. Now you respond with indifference. You used to defend. Now you don't acknowledge. You used to seek closure. Now you create your own peace. And she begins to crave your energy, not your love, but the attention, the respect, the devotion she once took for granted. That energy is rare. Once tasted, it cannot be replaced. She may test you again, a random text, a subtle comment, a late night confession. But understand, she doesn't miss the relationship. She misses herself in the reflection of who you were. Ironically, the man she now desires is the one shaped by her inability to value you before. Heartbreak forced you to evolve, to build boundaries, purpose, and inner peace. You stopped pouring into someone who only took and became someone who attracts. And that shift, the realization that you no longer need her to feel complete, is unbearable for her. She may try to reconnect, not because she's ready to love, but because she wants to feel relevant again. If you respond, even slightly, you risk undoing the transformation that now defines you. Her regret is her lesson, not your invitation. The version of you she misses died when you stopped measuring your worth by her attention. He disappeared when you stopped fighting for someone unwilling to fight for you. And he was reborn the moment you stopped chasing love and started embodying it. Confident, calm, unbothered, purposeful. The man who once feared losing her now fears losing himself. She spirals because she realizes the truth she'll never admit. She didn't lose a boyfriend, she lost loyalty. She didn't end drama, she lost devotion. She didn't close a chapter, she ended a rare story she'll never get back. She'll whisper, "You changed." And she's right. You changed from the man who needed love to the man who chooses peace. That transformation lingers in every new encounter. Every comparison fails. You became the mirror reflecting what she lost, and that reflection haunts her quietly. Time doesn't always heal, it reveals. For a woman who once took a man for granted, it becomes the mirror showing everything she refused to see when she had him. Life moves on, people change, cities shift, new faces appear, but no one replicates your calm, your steady heart, your silent certainty. Slowly, her regret deepens into something unspoken, almost reverent. Admiration. Because as she watches you evolve, she understands something she cannot admit. You didn't grow for her, you grew because losing her forced you to meet yourself. That's when she starts to see the truth she ignored. Your love wasn't weakness. Your patience wasn't passivity. Your loyalty wasn't naivety. It was depth, leadership, and power. When a man finally chooses himself after being taken for granted, he doesn't just heal, he ascends. He becomes the kind of man that commands respect, attracts life's rewards, and radiates a quiet authority. And that, more than anything, haunts her. She had a front row seat to your becoming, yet she walked away before the final act. Back then, she saw potential. Now she sees proof, and that proof burns hotter than any farewell could. She sees your confidence in every photo, not the flashy, look at me kind, but the grounded, calm presence of a man who no longer needs validation to feel valuable. She hears it in your boundaries, firm, measured, unshaken, not angry, not bitter. She notices how women now respect you, how your energy draws what used to slip through your hands. That's when admiration quietly replaces regret. Because even if she wanted to return, She can't not because of hate, but because you've outgrown her. It's poetic justice. You didn't seek revenge. You didn't prove a point. You simply healed, leveled up, and let your growth speak louder than your pain. Understand this, men. When you begin loving yourself with the intensity you once reserved for her, you become magnetic. You no longer chase, you choose. The woman who once left your messages on read now hesitates to reach out. The woman who made you doubt yourself replays old conversations, searching for what she missed. The one who casually walked away now wonders how she ever thought she could replace you. Here's the hard truth: she didn't lose you because you weren't enough. She lost you because she treated your loyalty like a guarantee, and it wasn't. Now you've become the man she tells her friends about, the one she messed up with, the one she should have been more patient with, the one who treated her right. But deep down, she knows it wasn't timing, it was her immaturity, her inability to distinguish the real from the familiar. Real doesn't chase, real doesn't beg. Real walks away quietly and rebuilds stronger. That's the difference between regret and admiration. Regret says, I want him back. Admiration whispers, he became everything I knew he could be without me. She now compares every new connection to you: your calm, your depth, your quiet humor, your stability. No one matches the energy of the man who loved her purely and walked away with grace. That absence becomes a scar she can't hide, a mirror reflecting what she truly lost. So, to every man listening, never regret being good to the wrong woman. She may never admit it, but one day she will realize what she lost. And that realization will echo in empty conversations, shallow relationships, and lonely nights where she wonders why no one makes her feel like you did. That's the power of self respect. That's the quiet revenge of a man who refused to let pain define him. That's the ending every man deserves: not validation, not closure, but freedom. Question for you: have you ever had a woman tell you years later she finally understood what she lost? Share your story below. You never know whose heart your experience might heal tonight. And if this resonated with you, like the video, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's rebuilding his peace here on the Reflective Psyche.